You know it's summer when there's a new set of sizzling hot singles on the beach looking to have a good time, but little did this batch know they were in for a surprise. The first 4 episodes of Season 2's Too Hot to Handle dropped, and this time we were introduced to 10 attractive individuals who thought they were going to party, hook up, and have a good time, but soon realized they were on a show to form romantic connections while barely being able to touch each other. Through interviews and their social media accounts, we gathered behind-the-scene reactions to how they truly felt when the cast realized what show they were on, the large amounts of money spent, and their cringiest moments. The first day started off with the introduction of 10 singles who were ready to get down and dirty as they expected to party all summer long on a show called Parties in Paradise. But by nighttime, all of their hopes vanished as they soon realized they were tricked into being on Too Hot to Handle, a show where they would be punished by a deduction of thousands of dollars if they were to even kiss. This is so they would be forced to physically stay apart in order to form an emotional connection with each other. While some fans think this setup was staged, the cast's reaction confirms that the stunt was not planned. On the Roz and Mocha show, Carly says they were told they were going to be in a house partying, drinking tequila, which she was definitely ready to do, but when things took a turn, she looked dumb on camera because she was dressed like a unicorn and had absolutely no idea what was going on.
What the actual F?
Meanwhile, a heart-eyed Emily was extremely disappointed because she thought she was going to hook up with a bunch of guys, and naughty girl Melinda was super annoyed because their hot girl summer plans were ruined. To make matters worse, in an interview with Heat World, Nathan and Peter revealed that the cast didn't even shower the first 2 days because it wasn't working, and even when it was, they all had to share just one bathroom. Imagine being on a hot beach all day and not being able to rinse the sweat off. Perhaps not touching each other wouldn't be so hard after all. Peter mentions that they all just spitted on each other the first night. We hope he was joking. To make the rules harder for the contestants, they were all told they had to sleep in one big bedroom. Somebody who didn't have a problem with their living situation, though, was Nathan. Not only was he outed by his castmates for being one who could go days without showering, but when he saw the comfortable beds, he was more distracted by that than the girls adding,
"Yeah, she's really attractive, but I'm just exhausted."
We wouldn't worry too much about him breaking the rules. His hygiene alone may have scared the women away. As Too Hot to Handle airs on Netflix, you might be wondering how the cast deals with being put in the spotlight, as the show is one of the most talked about reality TV series of the summer, simply because its premise is so intriguing. Well, if there's one thing to know about attractive people, it's that they love attention. After all, most of them are models or influencers, so the thousands of new followers pouring in certainly was welcomed. Many have already changed their Instagram bios to include the show's name. Carly posted a whole bunch of thirst traps. She mentions that she thought she looked weird on the show, but we guess her pictures are going to change the audience's minds. Chase and Peter, on the other hand, tried to get clout by pouring out as much content of him being associated with the show. Peter, the youngest contestant, already had a large following prior to the show on TikTok. Remember how in the first episode he says he would get 100 to 200 DMs a day? Even if he doesn't end up finding love, we know he sure would have no problem landing a date. Melinda joined him on the platform as they filmed themselves going to Times Square together and proudly saw their pictures on huge billboards for the first time. Marvin filmed a video of himself looking at the billboard as well, but it looked like he went by himself. As we see the love triangle between Marvin, Melinda, and Peter play out, perhaps this is a hint as to who Melinda ended up with. However, the downside to their newfound fame is having to explain it to their family members, something Cam, Peter, and Carly have mentioned they were not excited about, especially on a show as raunchy as this one. Carly said she simply told her dad not to watch it, but perhaps instructions were not clear because he still threw a full-on party with all of their extended family to watch her on screen talk in detail about her juicy hookups. How awkward. awkward. But other than that, she details to Roz and Mocha that her experience was a positive one and that she's never felt better. When asked whether production has ever manipulated her to get more juicy scandals, she says there's no real manipulation in terms of the editing. What you see is what you get. Maybe her good mood was the result of being in the presence of attractive people, or love. She gave us a hint as to how her journey ends by confirming that she ends up dating someone and that her journey was surprisingly emotional. When asked where her relationship stands now, she reveals that it's complicated. This sounds completely different from her plan coming in, which was just to have one-night stands and not fall in love. Looks like the show changed you, Carly. Of course, Too Hot to Handle would not live up to its name if there weren't actually any hookups, and there definitely was. But perhaps they weren't expecting to break 7 rules the first day with a total loss of $21,000. The cast had mixed reactions to that. The main culprits were Emily and Cam, who pretty much were attracted to each other right away and went in for a hot and heavy makeout session. They commented that if they were going to break a rule, they might as well go for it and thought that it was justified. In terms of their crab grab situation that cost them to lose even more money, Cam thought it was a loophole to the rules, as she was not heavily petting him, but nope, you cannot try to outsmart Lana. Other cast members were not very pleased. Nathan says the loss of money was definitely a huge shock, but Chase was livid as he felt extremely let down. We don't blame you. Losing thousands of dollars so that others can flaunt PDA in front of you does not seem like fun. The cast at one point thought they would eventually have to start paying out from their own pockets and got more strict with the rules. Who knew having chemistry would have such a hefty price? Other moments they discussed in their Cosmos interview was Carly's date with newcomer Robert, who came in midway to stir the pot. Carly mentions she could hear Chase talk in the background the entire time and basically wouldn't leave her alone. Chase admitted to being envious of Robert as he was taller and had the features of Captain America. Chase was just glad they didn't kiss on their date because he would have lost a girl on national television and lost money. The show was also filled with cringy scenes, and in particular, they brought up Nathan's failed magic Mike moves in front of Larissa. Nathan explains that that's not what he usually does on his first date, but his club days have been behind him for a while now, so he forgot a thing or two, or rather trained himself to forget some of the wild things he's done. Maybe he should have prefaced that before showing off his mediocre skills on national TV. In an interview with E!, the cast played a game of superlatives that gave us a better insight to what's going to happen next. They voted that Larissa had the dirtiest mind, while the funniest were Robert and Nathan. Carly was voted the biggest flirt and even had the nickname Kissing Carly, while the most likely to ghost someone would be Kayla, because she has high standards. Peter, not surprisingly, is the most likely to show PDA. We can't wait to see more episodes that are going to come out June 30th. The show may be cringy and has a really weird way for people to form romantic connections, but are we still going to watch? Yes. What do you think will happen next? Who will end up leaving as a couple? Will they lose all their money? Let us know in the comments below. Like this video if you want to stay up to date on the latest reality TV news, and we'll see you next time on The Things Reality.